Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Czech Tier 9 Tech Tree Heavy Tank, the TNH T VZ.51. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the TNH T VZ.51. Oh boy, the second game is a great time. We had a great time. And this tank is an absolute joy for me to play. I really do enjoy it. The only thing that I'd say about it is that the gun sometimes feels extremely wonky on it. It's the same on the TNH 1051 as well. There's sometimes the shells they just kind of feel like they fly out of the left of the gun a little bit, or they just sort of loop. And I don't know, the shell velocity is 960 meters a second, so that could explain it a little bit. But it just feels like the gun loops shells out sometimes, and it feels like they derp a bit because of that. I don't know, it might be perception. Like there, it always feels like I'm firing out the right hand side of my screen, right, instead of it coming straight down the middle like most of the tanks. It just feels weird. I don't know what it is. It's same, let's say, same on the TNH 1051 does exactly the same. But anyway, I digress. The TNH T VZ.51 is a fantastic Tier 9 heavy tank. You got the choice of a single shot and an auto loader, but I feel like the strength of this vehicle is in this double tap auto loader. It's its DPM with the build that I have is 2.1k, which is really not very good, but because it's an auto loader, naturally it's going to have worse DPM, and the power is in the ability to double tap these rounds. This tank does have a 2-shot 440 alpha damage gun, so you're dealing 880 damage in the clip, but you're doing it very, very fast, as you do have a 2.5 second intro clip, so you poke out, go bang, bang, pull back, get safe. This tank has reasonable side armor, so you can side scrape with it, but the actual upper hull armor is, well, it's not the best. You can ricochet shots off your upper plate, but on the whole, it's still probably going to get... You just got to be very, very careful with the TNH VZ.51. Premium rounds will go through the upper plate, and that is a pain. But the turret front is very, very good. This tank is very, very good at being hull down. You do have 7 degrees of gun depression, which means you can go hull down in spots. 7 degrees still can be a little bit awkward, as opposed to having 8, 9, or 10, but you can still have a great time with it, and you can use what is a very, very good turret front on this TNH. And you will bounce a hell of a lot. Because there is a weak spot in the cupola that people can pen, but even penning that cupola on this tank is a pain. And actually, the cupola is harder to pen on this vehicle than it is on the Tier 10, which, yeah, is a thing. And it's a very, very nice aspect for the TNH T VZ.51. You do have a 2.19 second aim time with the build that I have, which is pretty okay. It's not good, but it's not bad. You've got 0.8 accuracy during rotation and 1.83 accuracy during movement with the build that I have as well, which means the gun doesn't bloom out that much at all. And added in with the GLD making the aim time that little bit better, it does mean that you get this gun aimed in a little bit quicker. If you don't spec out for that, though, the gun handling can be a bit wonky with this tank, and it can feel a little bit bad as well. We do have 0.32 accuracy with the build that we have as well, which is, again, not the best in the universe. A lot of the tanks that you might be using in this tier are starting to get to 0.3 and below with a full build, so 0.32 can still be a little bit derpy. You have a 21.88 second reload for this clip, which again is a little bit long, but at the same time the power is putting yourself hull down in position and then just smashing out the rounds like an autoloader. You don't really want to be going toe-to-toe for DPM at times. You have a 50 km/h top speed with a 15 km/h reverse speed. You do hit that 50 km/h top speed a decent amount, not all the time, but it is a fairly mobile heavy tank, and you have 486 meters of view range, which is also very, very useful for the TNH T VZ.51. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on this tank? Well, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Trap Mechanic, and Rapid Aim. Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better, because the turret traverse is 30 degrees a second with Rapid Aim, which is still a little bit slow, and it's only just a bit better than your track traverse with this build, so I do want to make it as good as possible with Rapid Aim. The 3 gun perks to make this gun as good as possible, because it's all about dumping out these double shot rounds if you can. And then the trap mechanic, because you are a brawling heavy tank. The GLD to knock the aim time of this vehicle down, because it is a bit of a long aim time if you don't. The gun stabilizer to knock the accuracy during rotation and movement down, so that you can actually keep the aim circle as low as possible, or the bloom on the aim circle as small as possible. And then the optics to be able to spot for myself and have that 486 meters of view range. 486 meters of view range is a good amount of view range, but again, a lot of the tier 9s can push it a little bit higher than that, so it's nice to be able to spot for myself, especially if I get maps like Mali or Proc. So, as you've just seen in that first game, we did finish the game with the epic victory. 2 kills, 5,600 damage, the 751 assistance. First class, the sniper medal, the high caliber, for 1,671 base XP. A pretty decent game there for the TNH T VZ.51 on that map, which was Serene Coast. And yeah, we had a pretty decent time. That was what the TNH T VZ.51 is all about. Get yourselves to those hull down locations and just keep smashing out the rounds. It's what this tank does. And now we're on the second replay, and the second replay is, it's a bit of a doozy. And we are on this map, which is Nebelberg. And on Nebelberg, what we're actually going to do is we are going to go into the town. We're going to go to the town and try and go for the position at around BA2. Go on that hill, try and go hull down there, and just try and put some double shots out if we can. And if nothing really gets spotted going up that hill, we might not even climb it. We might try and go on the lower ground around C1 and 2 as well, and try and fight around the town. But I'll always aim for going to the high ground first, because if they send people up to the high ground and you take the low ground, well, it doesn't often go that well. So we did spot a heavy tank there at F5. As we were crossing, which is a bit of a weird spot to spot him, but he must have just crested over the little ridge line. That's why we saw him. But as you can see, we are one of 3 people going to A2, which is quite nice, because at least I know I've got a little bit of backup in 2 TDs. I don't know what the TDs are at this point, because I haven't actually looked, but I've got some backup. I'm not alone. And it's one of those things, obviously, you always want to be going for positions where you're not going to be alone, because if we came here, if we aimed to just go to A2 and then we looked at the map and saw no one coming with us, we'd have probably just died if we found people coming up this way. So we may as well, if we were coming to this position at A2 and we didn't have any help, I would have just turned around and gone and played around the position at E5, because yeah, I would have just been alone. I probably would have died alone and then moaned, right, which is not what we want to do. So, as you can see, we've got to the top of the hill at B1. The TD was quite advanced at C2, and we've not seen anything. There is nothing here. Their team just haven't bothered. And it's like, okay, their team aren't here. So, what can I do now? Well, maybe I could get into a position to shoot these heavy tanks. And as we're progressing forward, we end up spotting 2 medium tanks, a CS-59 and an AVRE, and it's like, oh, goodness gracious me, what is an AVRE doing there? We put a shot through the side of his turret, go for that side shot, 2 pens in a row, let's go. It's always nice to do that to the AVRE, and then keep ourselves protected by this rock from that guy. But we're also being shot at from the heavy tanks that I was thinking about possibly going to try and get flanking shots in the Kranvan and the other guy as well. But thankfully, the Kranvan isn't firing at us anymore. We actually have some cover in this little rock. The artillery ends up hitting us. I think the Kranvan is actually reloading, which is why he's not going for us. We go for the cupola shots, and thankfully, 1 out of 2 actually hits that cupola and pens it through the Centurion AVRE's turret. But there's the other tank I was worried about, and that is the IS-32. And the IS-32 has position that he could actually, if he pulled back, shoot me in the side and in the rear of the turret. I don't want to be in that position anymore, because it is a very, very open position to stuff like the Kranvan, like that T-54E1 if he decided to pull out, or the IS-32, as you can see here, who could see us. So we've managed to get the flanking shots on that guy, put double shot in there, which is, again, is the power of this vehicle, is just being able to catch people out and going tap, tap, and then get yourself back behind cover. We're up to 2,039 damage, and this IS-32, you see, is now distracted from my teammates in the 2 TDs at the position at E5. He's now distracted with me and wants to try and get shots at me, but actually you can see that while I was unspotted and reloading, he decided to turn around and try and get himself covered. But sadly, our 2 rounds from our clip there, 1 bounced and the other one, well, probably bounced as well, even though it hit him when he was unspotted. And the IS-32 is just kind of ignoring us, which is great for us. So we're just going to reload again and then see if we can get any shots in. Sadly, we get spotted a little bit too early. I should have probably waited a little bit longer to make sure that he wasn't going to spot me there. We fully aim the shot in, and we actually track and pen that guy. So we'd go for the second shot, and it misses. Sad times. The first one hit. The second one was just like, you know what? I could hit that. Or I could just hit the dead wreck, because why not? It was a bit of a thin shot, though, so, I mean, fairly unlikely. But again, waiting on the reload. The IS-32 is, I don't know if he's looking at me or the TD, so, yeah, he's looking at, he's basically boned. There is no other way to describe the IS-32. He's kind of boned. He gives us the side of his turret, and we finish him off with the second shell. We're kind of lucky here that we haven't been pushed by the CS-59 or the I think there's still the AVRE alive over here. We're fairly lucky we haven't been pushed by either of these guys yet, to be fair. Because if they'd pushed me, they'd have been able to probably save their IS-32. But it is what it is for him. And we're just waiting on our reload. We know there's some TDs up on the ridgeline at J23. So we don't want to be too aggressive because they will have shots at us. We know they've got some big guns. But now we're unspotted. I'm thinking, okay, now I'm unspotted. I can push up to the next rock. It's all about pushing up to the next sphere of cover. Because if I was just to drive out in the open and go after the CS-59 while I was spotted, I'd probably die to the WZ-111, or 113 GFT, sorry. That guy there, and he would hit me for a lot. And there's probably something else up there with him. We actually put a shot through the side panel there of the 113 GFT, because if you know the weak spots of the 113 GFT, which is the Chinese Tier 10 Tech Tree tank destroyer, if he turns slightly to the side, on either way, there's actually side panels that are really easy to pen on that tank, and it just completely weakens the armor. The armor of that tank is really quite good when it's fully facing you straight on, but as soon as it turns ever so slightly, the armor goes a bit poo, unless you got shots at the lower plate. So we try and get a shot into the cupola there of the 113 GFT's cupola, but it just doesn't fly true, and we ended up bouncing both rounds off his cupola. We loaded premium because I wanted the 294 premium pen to be able to at least go through that guy's cupola, because I thought if 254 penetration or 252 penetration rounds, sorry, don't pen that cupola at this range, and I mean at the range we're going, we're probably looking at 240 to 230 pen as well on drop off over distance. Looking at the stats, we're very unlikely to pen it, whereas if we loaded the premium rounds, we might have actually gone through the cupola, which is why we've done it. But we've got the premium loaded. We don't really need it for a GUI, but, well, we'll take it. And that was an AP round. That was an AP round. That would have hurt. That really could have hurt my day, but it is what it is, as they say in the biz. And, oh my goodness gracious me, that could have been so bad. We make a massive mistake, and that is we were trying to go after the GWE 100, and I did not think there was anything else left up here on this hill. I thought the GWE was the last one alive, and we drove out sideways on in front of the FV 4005, and he only damaged us with HE. We've got the shells loaded now, though, and we managed to get the sneaky shot into the side of that FV there, and we finish him off. But now we want to try and progress to see if we can shoot anything that's in the cap. If it gets spotted, there is a medium tank at G5 who could spot the cap, and there you go, it's a 430 version 2. Unfortunately, the 430 version 2 actually did finish off our CS-59, and now we switch back to the standard rounds because we don't really need the premium rounds for a 430 version 2. We're up to 5.1k damage and 2.2k assist. And we are very lucky to be alive, to be fair. That big mistake, that 4005 could have ended our day in the blink of an eye. And to be honest, the way that we actually drove out in front of that 4005 is probably why we survived, because we went out sideways on first, which meant that his Hesh just exploded on our spaced armor. So we are climbing off the hill. There are still 6 tanks left on the enemy team. It is 4-6. We are losing this game quite heavily. We know the 430 version 2 could be looking at us, and what I'm trying to do is progress up to the next ridge line, but use the rocks in front of me to keep myself covered from anything that could be camping where the Death Star is. And thankfully, I had no idea there was a Death Star there, but that's why we progressed the way we did. And the Waffle Panzer IV managed to actually get a shot in to shut down the British Tier 10 tank destroyer. Another 183 out of the game. Glorious times. We were probably fairly lucky that the Death Star also didn't actually get a shot at us, but we negated the amount of chances that he'd actually have 2 shooters by moving up between the different covers. So I want to move up to a better position to get shots at these people as they are trying to cap. We got a shot at the Bayer on the move, but sadly it ricocheted off his upper plate. We want to hopefully shut down the Contra Caro Mark II, and there we go. We end up finishing the CC-1 Mark II there with a shot through the side. We're up to 6,012 damage with 4,150 assistance. So we were actually the ones spotting the cap as well as the Death Star, and it's fed us a lot of assistance damage. We're up to 10k combined so far, but we are still losing 4-3, which is not good. We've loaded premium because I don't want the awkward chance that I might end up with an awkward ammo loadout because we only have 5 rounds of AP. Plus, the AP rounds with 252 might actually be a bit of a struggle with the Bayer at the angle he's at. So I want my 294 penetration APCR rounds to make sure that they are going to go through. We do have 1,080 meters a second shell velocity on these APCR rounds as well, which is actually not that great for APCR, but is a lot better than the standard rounds, which is quite nice. We're up to now 6.8k damage with that finish off on the Bayer, because we were doing, again, the perfect thing for the TNH. We were hull down, poking out, and getting the double shots off. And the one thing I didn't expect, I was going to poke out a different way to see if I could get a spot and a cheeky shot at the 430 version 2. But as I was coming out this way, it's like, oh, that's a Murat. Hello, Mr. Murat. Well, don't mind me shooting you twice there. We get a double shot into the Murat there, putting him down to a one shot. We're up to 7,779 damage. That's quite a satisfying number. And we are now in a bit of an awkward situation. I'm just making it as difficult as possible for this Murat to ever get a shot at me by side scraping out. And we're just going to wait, because there's not much else I can do. I'm either going to get YOLO'd, or I can wait. But now I'm unspotted. I think, okay, I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to back up into a better position where I know I was safe from the Murat. And once again, I might be able to spot the cap, or where the 430 version 2 is, get shots at him, and if I do spot him, maybe my friends on the hill at K3 will actually shoot him. And there we go, we find the 430 version 2, we get one shot in, we get two shots in, and we high roll. We've got 440 alpha, we high roll there, finish him off, we'll take that, a 5th kill of this game. The Murat gets shut down by the Waffle Panzer 4, and there's only one tank left on this in this game for the enemy team. It is a Ruthless. And we don't know how much health he's got. We actually have absolutely no idea where the Ruthless is anymore. It's like, where is this guy? We've looped round their cap, or their spawn area, I should say. We're now at the back end of the encounter. This could be awkward, because if he's firing AP, he will pen me quite easily, unless he randomly ricochets off my turret. If he's firing Hesh, the likelihood is he might actually still splash me to death with the Hesh. So we've got to be careful of that. And we don't know how much HP he's on. If he's on full health, that could be quite awkward, because naturally we can't kill him in 2 shots. So we've got to advance very, very carefully and see if we get lucky with a spot. And we do! And the RBRT! We take the RBRT. We end up finishing off the Ruthless with a shot through the upper plate and finish the game with the victory. 6 kills, 8,947 damage, 4.1k assist. That's 13k combined. With the ace tanker, the sniper, the top gun, the high caliber. For 2.7, nearly 2.8k base XP, which is a fantastic game for the TNH T VZ.51, and yeah, it was a great game. I do really enjoy playing this tank at Tier 9. It is a damn solid tank, and it's always an enjoyable one to take out for me. So if you did enjoy the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success.